GSL with Caldor and Wolf.
To the top right, we have once again our incredible Miracle player who played incredible on the first map for sure. Daybreak was definitely his turf. We have him now against BBoongBBoong once again on the second game, being in a 1-0 lead. He's in a comfortable position, starting in the red.
IMC.
He's looking really comfortable here. He played very well on the last map and he's just an amazing player. We mentioned earlier how he has the perfect attitude for a pro gamer. He always wants to improve on his play, takes every loss and tries to just make sure that he knows what he did wrong in order to improve for the next match. And now we have his opponent,
BBoongBBoong Prime.
Played very, very well against Genius, was not able to win the match. He lost with 1-2. Might be still a little bit affected by his earlier loss, but now he's once again, he's down one game and he has to make sure that he is at least able to claim Antigua Shipyard, which is not going to be easy.
Look at this. What is that? That is a gateway on the high ground now.
Yes,
that
indeed it is.
Is so rare and so uncommon in Korea.
Right now it's a strategy that we see a little bit more often. The problem that how the meta game actually worked, usually a few months ago what we had Protoss trying to do was just starting to get a 3 gateway or 1 gateway expand. And while the 3 gate expand was very, very safe, you usually faced the problem that your opponent already was way ahead in economy, so he could overwhelm you. If you went for 1 gateway attack, it happened that you were kind of vulnerable to all ends. So Protoss players just tried to start with a Forge Expand because this enabled them to throw back the all-ins. They figured out the perfect timings in order to do it. And Zerg struggled. Zerg suddenly had the problem that their opponent was on even economy and was able to fend off every single attack they threw against them. So they had to kind of evolve again. But by now, Zerg players just have these timings down. They know exactly when they need to build a Roach Warren, when they need to build the Evolution Chamber in order to prepare it, when the third base should go down, and what kinds of attack they should expect. So Protoss is now in a position where they once again have to think about what they're going to do. Are they relying on the strategies that they developed, or are they just trying to mix it up once again? And this is exactly the thought process that is behind this gateway start for Seedling.
You're exactly right, because now BBoongBBoong's like, what? Like, it's a little bit scary to be in this position. You know, well, that's really interesting. He canceled his hatchery at the fast third, then went for a hatchery at his natural where it's safer. Against this type of build from Seed, you kind of have to do that, because if he 4 gates, which would be crazy,
he actually does. I've seen this a couple of times in the KSL. I just cast recently a couple of very interesting games, and the Zerg players were in a lot of trouble when there was a 4-gate. They were not really used to face this kind of strategy anymore. And if you suddenly are confronted with an aggressive build, this is exactly the reason why he does it, because he can be aggressive now.
He's gonna scout it though, but even if he scouts it, he's already preparing. He's got a spine going up at home that he can move to his low ground. And
oh my god, this should not have happened.
Yeah, this is embarrassing actually.
Oh, this is not supposed to happen. You have to make sure that your opponent is not able to scout. So
even so, this may very well work because Warp Gate Research is almost done. He doesn't have spines up. He has no creep. His Roach Warren is just now being started.
Nah, he should be safer. He should be able to defend this. He has the first spine crawler is up, the second one is building, his hatch is done, he's just going to the low ground. He is not safe just yet, but he should be able to fend this off.
He's only going to have slow Zerglings though, and this is going to be so hard to defend. I mean, he may very well do it, but the first 4 Stalkers that come in are going to be so difficult to deal with. He won't be able to move his spine crawler very freely. Luckily for him, he was able to get that first spine up, but with good Stalker micro, he should be able to target it down without any losses. And that's exactly what he's going to do. And BBoongBBoong in a lot of trouble here.
He has a ton of Zerglings.
See, he's not going to be able to get the spine, and he doesn't have Zergling speed, so the second spine falls. And in seconds, Caldor, 4 more Stalkers will come in.
Small window, and you're right, the Stalkers are in right now. He couldn't get the second spine crawler onto the low ground, and now he's building the Roaches, but just look at how much damage has already been done, and he's supply blocked as well. The Overlord is picked off, he's supply blocked, losing the Queens, and this is exactly why C chose this build, because being aggressive and taking a charge of the game is something that Zerg players are not really used to anymore.
He can actually force field the ramp with sentries now. If he can catch that Queen outside, gets it inside, but either way, GG. And coming from the king of 4 gates, me, I have to say that was really well executed, despite the scouting of his opponent. And most players would even wall off of the pylon to block Zerglings from getting it, but even if you do that, your opponent knows what's up. But, you know, he did such a great job with his timing with his warp-ins, and BBoongBBoong even knew it was coming, but he couldn't do anything about it. And the key is he didn't have any creep, he didn't have anything on the low ground, his speed was late, and all these things are so hard. It make it so hard to defend a 4-gate, and if you don't have speed without spines, you will never defend a 4-gate. And he tried to get the spines up, but he only had one, and he had to move it, and the timing was perfect.
Just think about how fast he started to react to this build. He saw that there was at least 7-8 score, there was one gate, and he immediately cancelled the third. He said like, okay, there's no third for me right now, I have to prepare for this. He started a spine crawler, but he still was not ready, as he pointed out. And this is the huge problem. We talked about it a little bit earlier about the meta game that is going on. And with those builds, you don't have to go for the 4-gate. There are a lot of strategies that you can use. You can even go for a 1-gate expand, for example, or a 3-gate expansion. But he will suddenly be able to put pressure onto the Zerg player, and he has to react to this. So if he sticks with his original idea of getting a fast third base, he will be in a lot of trouble. And C just took it to the extreme right now. He just went for the 4-gate, and BBoongBBoong, he tried to prepare for it. He even scouted with the Zergling, but he was not able to fend this army off. The spine crawler, the second one, was not on the low ground, and only having one spine crawler allowed C to just snipe it off, and then suddenly there was nothing that BBoongBBoong could do anymore.
Yeah, I mean, people actually underestimate the power of this old strategy.
Yeah.
People underestimate its power, and it's so difficult to defend on, especially on a map like this. If you do anything weird, like take a third in an awkward position, then your speed's late and you don't have creep and you lost a lot of production time, you just lose. Like, it's just that simple. And I think in some cases, going back to this old strategy is just so smart to do. And we're going to take another 5-minute break. Or before we have our winners match against Genius, it's going to be our final deciding match. It's going to be Seed versus Genius, a PvP. Probably not what Genius wanted to face, but only one of these players will be going on to Codes. We'll join you in 5.
Reaper. Hashing. Reaper. Hashing. Hashing.